It's the first meeting of the General Assembly of the World Uyghur Congress in 3 years. And for exiled Uyghur leader Rabia Kadir, the plight of her people is all the more critical.
It's like a life or death struggle at a time when China is becoming a growing regional power, at a time when the international community is more interested in trade with China than human rights.
Just after the last General Assembly in 2009, deadly ethnic clashes broke out in China's western Xinjiang region, which is home to 9 million Uyghurs, and there have been a series of violent attacks since then. Rabia Kadir says the ethnic Uyghurs in Xinjiang face a continuing threat to their existence because of repression by Chinese authorities.
Dozens of people are sacrificing themselves. Uyghurs are facing extrajudicial killings, oppression, forceful deportations, economic exploitation and destruction of their own culture.
It's the first time the General Assembly has been held in Asia, and the fact that Japan allowed it to go ahead in Tokyo has provoked the ire of Beijing.
The World Uyghur Congress has all kinds of connections with terrorist groups. China expresses strong discontent with the Japanese for permitting the World Uyghur Congress to assemble in Japan in defiance of China's stern opposition.
These activities are conducted by a private organisation. The Japanese government has no comment on it.
The government might not have been keen to comment, but Japan's opposition MPs were. Several of them took part in the opening session of the Assembly and expressed support for the Uyghur cause.
Preserving one's freedom is the most important task for all human beings. We should never allow the Chinese government to violently suppress human freedom.
We protest against the unbelievable human rights abuses by China on the Uyghur people. Countries around the world that embrace freedom and democracy should cooperate and sternly pressure China. I believe our part, as the parliamentary coalition, is to play a central role in bringing about such pressure.
The beginning of the Uyghur Assembly coincided with a summit in Beijing between China, South Korea and Japan. China's President Hu Jintao held separate talks with the South Korean President Lee Myung-bak, but the Chinese leader didn't meet alone with the Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihiko Noda. This was the response by Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary when asked if the Uyghur Assembly had anything to do with it.
The meeting was not held because of difficulties in scheduling. There's nothing more or less to add to that.
The Japanese Prime Minister did, though, meet the Chinese Premier, Wen Jiabao. They reportedly discussed territorial issues, as well as Rabia Kadir's entry visa to Japan. The Uyghur leader has been living in exile in the United States since her release from a Chinese prison in 2005. Ever since, she's been fighting for independence from China for the Uyghur people in Xinjiang.
We will continue to struggle peacefully and also hope the Chinese President Hu Jintao and the Chinese government in Xinjiang stop the repression of the Uyghur people and initiate political reforms to realise this historic opportunity to change the authoritarian rule.
The speech of the related person shows her position, which is anti-China and in favour of splitting the country. We demand she give up such a plot to split the country.
China blames the violence in Xinjiang on the Uyghur people and their push for independence. Uyghur activists, though, say economic marginalisation and restrictions on their culture are to blame. The World Uyghur Congress is using this week to elect new members, and it says delegates will further develop strategies to engage China over the issue of self-determination.